Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Around the Big Ten podcast. I'm Mark Givler. Got Chip Minnick here with me as always. Our look around the Big Ten continues. We are doing a kind of a 3 burning questions for every Big Ten team heading into spring practice here over the next few weeks. Some schools are starting practice like in a week. Others are waiting until the middle of March, but I want to get these out there on all the Big Ten schools, kind of what their areas of concern might be going into spring, some questions maybe that need answered, and just some general thoughts. So we are on to Northwestern. Interesting program just in general right now. A lot going on there. A new coaching staff that's now kind of got their footing a little bit after the Pat Fitzgerald saga. Waiting for a new stadium, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But let's talk about the most important position in sports first, the quarterback position. This has been, to be kind, a very, very big issue for Northwestern over the last, let's call it at least a decade. Let's call it about a decade.
Mm-hmm.
They have gotten very, very poor quarterback play. And it has cost them, in my opinion, a lot of wins because they've generally played good defense, played smart football, played complementary football as best they can. They have not gotten nearly enough out of their quarterbacks the last 10 years. So in comes Preston Stone, the latest in just a revolving door of, let's throw darts against the board and see if we can hit a bullseye. Stone comes from SMU, highly recruited out of high school, was a starter there, lost his job early last year, still was a productive player at SMU. Like, how are we? Certainly that's got to be a big question. Like, how does he fit? Will he, Chip, help them kind of drag themselves out of this like quarterback drought?
It can't hurt. I mean, like I like the fact that you said that to be fair. I mean, like I'm really struggling to think of the last time that Northwestern had really consistently good quarterback play. And I realize it sounds, highly judgmental, but it just seems like they cannot, when they go into the transfer portal, that it's kind of like, okay, they're kind of, like doing a lot of this, like they're basically, it's like, all right, I'm going to get this guy. Yeah. And let's hope for the best, be prepared for the worst, because that's basically what they've had. When it comes to Preston Stone, I think, he's the next guy up that I'm sure that all of the Northwestern fans are pinning their hopes to, but I wouldn't blame any Northwestern fan that may be watching this to be saying like, Minnick, it's easy for you to say, like, look at, like as an Ohio State fan, what you've had to experience from the quarterback position. But, when it comes to Northwestern, I mean, they every year it's kind of like fill in the blank. We're really excited. We think that this, like he's going to give us a lot of, options at the quarterback position. And then by the end of the season, everyone is just kind of throwing their hands up in disgust. So no disrespect to Preston Stone. I think he's the talent is certainly there. Like you said, highly recruited coming out of high school. Hunter Johnson was a guy that, and I'm not saying that in a, in a taunting way. It's, there was a guy that, was highly touted and it just never worked out at Clemson, and it didn't work out at Northwestern either. So, I just think if I'm a Northwestern fan, you certainly have you certainly have deserved the right to kind of, hold back, until proven otherwise, to get excited about the quarterback position for the Wildcats.
Yeah, this one's going to be interesting. I think it's going to make or break any bowl hopes they have. What they can get out of Preston Stone. I'll say that I'm glad you brought up Hunter Johnson because I was going to. I'm fairly certain this will be better than Hunter Johnson. I know it's not a high bar, but I mean, Hunter Johnson really washed out at Clemson. Preston Stone put together a productive year 2 years ago at SMU. Like, he's proven he's a capable, like, power conference quarterback. Hunter Johnson, for all his accolades in high school, never actually showed any of that on the field. in college. So I'm pretty optimistic the bar is much higher than Hunter Johnson at this point. But it is interesting. Like they've tried everything.
Yes.
They've gotten like under the radar recruit that they develop and they handpick, and they've tried kind of going the transfer portal route, getting the former 5-star that just didn't work out somewhere else, and seeing if they can rehabilitate him. They've got they've had athletic guys, they've had more pocket, like they've really tried everything at this point. So eventually they've got to find something that works here. Again, I think I feel better about Preston Stone going into this season than I felt about a lot of their quarterbacks. Like maybe Trevor Siemian and Mike Kafka. Like you have to go back, and those guys, in my opinion, they weren't like all Americans, but they were net like positives to what you were doing. At least like they weren't like net negatives. They've had too many net negatives at quarterback. For like a baseball term, they've had too many guys who are like below replacement level, at quarterback, to use a baseball term. Like, I don't think Preston Stone will be that. I think he'll be an improvement over what they've had, but will that be enough? It's not like he's coming into a situation where they're just like loaded with talent and they just need the quarterback to not mess it up. They need the quarterback to like really kind of take things by the horns and pull the rest of the guys along with him. Can Preston Stone be that? We'll see. We'll do the post-spring, autopsy and schedule analysis later. I don't want to get too deep into the schedule, but like the Big Ten didn't do them a lot of favors. It's a difficult schedule. Like I looked at their schedule. I think they're only going to be favored in one of their 8 or one of their 9, maybe 2 of their 9 conference games at best. They're not going to be favored in a lot of their conference games. So they're going to need Preston Stone to really, again, be more than just a game manager. They're going to need him to really drive play for them. But in good news, Cam Porter, right?
Yes.
Chip, that's your guy, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, very talented running back. The fact that he decided to come back, I think, you were just talking about, okay, the traditional Northwestern quarterback play, the reason why, like we're kind of, trying to be polite and stammering over, like how to say it. Let's face it, Northwestern, they have had their success offensively, or lack thereof, based on their running game. Over these past several years, when they're trying to find a quarterback to complement that traditional, like they have a pretty good, let's face it, they've done a pretty good job in developing offensive linemen, and they've had pretty consistent play from their running back position. So, like Cam Porter coming back, like that, you want to talk about like something to hang your hat on offensively. Now, granted, it can't be just him, because obviously that is kind of where, kind of piggybacking off what we were talking about at the quarterback position. Is like, it's too easy to zero in on, let's shut down Cam Porter, and we've shut down the Northwestern offense. But Porter coming back is definitely something that, if you're a Northwestern fan, that you can be excited about.
No doubt. And yeah, like that's our second question here, if we didn't make that obvious, is just kind of what the impact of Cam Porter returning is for Northwestern. I'm a big Cam Porter guy. I watched him a lot in high school, a Cincinnati kid. So I think, yes, like the combination now, if you can get, again, above replacement level quarterback play,
yes,
with Cam Porter, you've got something there. So this is big. Like there's no tanking for the number 1 draft pick. Like these returns are huge. Like when you get this guy back, it's not, some, if you're an NFL team, it's like, if he comes back, or if we let him walk, that's fine. Let's get the number 1 pick next year, the number 2 pick next year. It doesn't work that way in college football. You need to have these guys come back. There's no bottoming out. So this was big. They're going to be challenged very early in their schedule, but it's going back really almost 30 years. It's been a really over 30 years. It's been a running back driven attack. And when they've been able to have a quarterback who can play off of that a little bit and not hurt you with turnovers, or, be able to make the throws that you should be able to make at the college, at the division, at the Big Ten level, they've been able to kind of overachieve and surprise people. And so I'm optimistic about their backfield. And so, but again, that's why these are questions. That's why these are, 3 burning questions going into spring football is like, how does this look, in tandem with the new quarterback? And you're going to have to replace some offensive linemen. So yeah, that was probably as meaningful of a returner, like in the Big Ten. Like, I'm trying to think of like who's getting someone back in the Big Ten this year. That's like a, as big of it. Like, this is right up there, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
this is right up there. And, if we look at things objectively, if we look at things at scale in terms of like, what Cam Porter means to Northwestern, an even better player might not mean to Oregon or Michigan or Penn State or Ohio State. Like, this is getting a 5-star recruit if you're Northwestern. So
yeah.
I mean, I think this is big. So I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see what the guys on the ground are saying coming out of Northwestern spring practice. We have a couple guys in that market that we talk to quite a bit. Just that I've known for a while, and it'll be interesting. That they're very no nonsense because they've seen it all there over the years, and so I'll be interested to see kind of what the early rumblings are coming out of Evanston with the new quarterback, and just kind of how the pieces are fitting together in that backfield. Our last thing here, and I don't know how much you can really. I don't know that the spring is going to be the best time to answer this, but it's very unique, and we've got to talk about it. And that is, like, what was the impact last year of kind of being the Harlem Globetrotters? Like, you have this like makeshift home stadium that you use sometimes, but then you play at Wrigley, and they're going to play 2 games at Wrigley. It looks like on their schedule this year. The Michigan and Minnesota games look like they're tentatively scheduled for Wrigley in November. Like, what toll is that taking on your team? How much is it holding you back? Is there something you can do in the spring? Is there anything you can do in the off season to help that? Or is this just your reality until the new Ryan Field is ready to go?
Unfortunately, I think it's just the reality until it's ready, because I mean, you can put, just to kind of borrow a phrase that my late father used to say, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. And what I mean by that is, all right, there's nothing you can't rush the construction. You can't try to pretend that it's not impacting you, because it is. So I think you have to accept the reality of the situation. And like what when you look up Northwestern football Ryan Field, they have just to put it as bluntly as I can, is like they have pictures of like what the current stadium, the progression of the construction project, what it looks like. And when I look at right now, it's like there's like they have pictures for the week of February 10th, where like so many steel bars and concrete poured, and as we're recording this, it is February, so it's like, okay, I have to think, just as without being in the construction business, just knowing how cold it is here in Ohio, like I can only imagine what it is in Evanston, like how is that impacting it? So I think if I'm a member of the Northwestern football staff, is like you have to be as direct and honest with any of your recruits or anyone that you might be trying to entice on the NIL front, saying, hey, we're going to be kind of nomadic this coming season, but we're making progress on our new stadium, and we're excited about when that comes to pass. And Northwestern, even we were talking about like with the quarterback position and the running back position, I will say that Northwestern, they do a pretty good job, I think, just by out of necessity, about identifying the guys that are the right fit for that program. I mean, they have their academic standards that are challenging enough. But I think that they find the guys that are not only academically equipped, but also, of the right mindset in terms of like the kind of program that Northwestern is, within the Big Ten, that are going to be able to come in and, kind of attack those challenges in the right way.
Yeah, like I was even wondering, like, should they move their practices around a little bit just to get out of their comfort zone, just because they're never going to have a comfort zone in the season? Like, do you go through a week where you practice in 3 different places just to like get them like uncomfortable, like just get them uncomfortable, or get them comfortable with being uncomfortable? Like, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how you best prepare for something like this. But it is interesting. 10 years ago, we would have never associated Northwestern with great facilities. That's going to change here in a few years. That new stadium is going to be beautiful, and they have an unbelievable new practice facility that's just opened up in the last few years on the lake. So the future looks good. But yeah, in the meantime, it's just a tough situation. Just not really having a great home stadium, but we'll see. I'm sure they'll do their best to fight through it, and we will revisit this after spring, see how things are going there in Evanston, and maybe do a schedule analysis. As I said, the schedule gods were not particularly kind to them, so we'll go over that coming out of the spring and see what their outlook is. But appreciate everyone watching and listening. We got another one here coming up soon.